Namaskar. Hello everyone. RVD here. In the previous video, we had started understanding the concept of if statement. Even though if is not very widely used, I've come up with some small programs for you to understand the concept of if with the implementation. So in today's lecture, we'll be looking at how to find the absolute value of the given integer. Now, as you know, absolute value is something which is always positive. So we simply have to do a uni-optional checking whether the value is negative or not to negate it further. If the value is already positive, we do not have to perform any action. So this is actually a very apt example of using if statement. So let us see how can we do that program. So I'll be requiring a simple integer variable. Okay, I'll ask user to enter an integer. Okay, now after that, as usual, I'll be taking that using %d ampersand a. So I've got my integer a. Now get it very clearly. I want the final answer to be the positive value. Now see the two cases. It might be possible that a is already positive. So that means I don't have to do anything on a, no operation. But if the value of a is negative, then I have to negate that value, because negative if I negate further, it becomes positive. Okay, so let's go ahead with the if statement. If value of a is negative, then I have to negate it further. Now how do I put the condition? What do you mean by value of a is negative? If a is less than 0, this is how I can check whether a is negative or not. So if a is negative, I simply have to do a equal to minus a. Now see, there is no else part, because you know what else means? That a is not negative, that means it is already positive, so I don't have to perform any operation. Okay, that's what I was saying. It's an apt example of if statement. So finally I'll be displaying the result as, let's say, absolute value equal to %d, and that will be a itself. Fine, so let us see if it works properly. Okay, we have saved it, I guess, as .cpp, so that's the reason the error is persisting. So let me save it as C file, and you'll see the errors are getting vanished. Sometimes this is also a good practice to understand how do we get errors and how can we get rid of those errors. Okay, so let me compile it again. Yeah, that's a very silly mistake I have done. You people might have noticed that it has to be minus a. Okay, so let us compile it again. Yeah, so you can see there are no errors now. Fine. So because of my mistakes, you could even see how exactly we get errors and how can we obviously avoid those errors. The first error was I by mistake had saved this as .cpp, so it was applying CPP rules, and second one was instead of doing a equal to minus a, I have written it by mistake as a minus. So that minus operator was not effective because it was not being used properly. Okay, so let us see now how do we execute this. Okay, so one second. Yeah, so if I execute, enter an integer, let me put a positive integer. See, absolute value is equal to 5, which is perfect. Let me put an integer which is negative. I still get the absolute value which is positive. Clear? So that is how I can very well go for using if statement. You might be feeling that this is a very simple program. Yes, it's a simple one, but isn't it? It is actually giving you a good programming example for if statement. Okay, so I hope now you've better understood if statement, not only conceptually but implementation wise as well. Fine, so that was the aim of this particular video, to give you the implementation or a programming example of if statement. So that's it for this video. Thank you and happy learning.